Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you the Moonlight Pro League. We are right down to the end. The last player in round 2 for Team Scan, it's BarrackS. Now, that being said, BarrackS is a pretty good last player to have. When you look at the overall player pool of this, I think it's pretty clear BarrackS is probably the most accomplished of all the players. Right? He's been in ASL more than everyone else and continually is having good results. So we'll see if he's able to take it back. He's up against Ample right now. Of course, if Ample falls here, ZeLoT will be coming out for his team to try to finish BarrackS off. If Team ZeLoT ends up winning, then the Moonlight Pro League's over. If BarrackS is able to 2-0 here, though, we will get a super ace match, which is always a ton of fun. To see how that's going to go down, like one game to really decide everything. So we're going to have a Terran versus Terran here, and it's on Silford, right? So 3-player map. This is actually a really good map for Terran versus Terran. There's a lot of aggressive strategies that can work, and because it's a rotationally symmetric 3-player map, map control is more important here than anywhere else. You can't split the map. It cannot be split, okay? There's no natural way that you're like, okay, that half's yours, this half is mine, and it becomes like a siege war, right? It becomes battle cruisers or something. Because there's a third main base, and the way the center is shaped, whoever gains massive map control ends up winning a lot of the time. Now, that being said, there are some ways that big drops can occur. Specifically in these spawns, if Ample starts to gain map control, he's going to have the option to drop into the back of BarrackS' base because BarrackS' natural's up here, right? So, you know, if he's got his units up at the front and he has to move them back to try to defend, that's not something that really works. Whereas, you know, you have your units up at the front as Ample and you can move them like 2 centimeters and you're in the main base. So, yeah, positions like this generally do favor the player that can do those quick drops that are massively effective. Now, that being said, there's ways that you can kind of play around that by playing maybe more aggressively, keeping the pressure on your opponent so that if they try to go for something like that, they're going to be in trouble. But if the game slows down at all, that's definitely something we could see from Ample. Now, looking at their openers, it looks like factory expands on both sides. You can see they've taken their SCVs off gas. This SCV just running around trying to figure out, like, oh, okay, we only see, you know, standard stuff. 2 depots, the factory, 1 Marine, possibly a 2nd Marine in 1 SCV on gas. So that always points towards a very fast command center, so very likely that we'll end up seeing that. BarrackS looks to be doing the same as well. His Marine going to go ahead and pop out and try to chase away Ample's SCV. Oh, Ample's SCV actually gets stuck there. Takes a bit more damage than it really should have. And it will jot into the main base and see what's what, which isn't a lot. It's like the exact same build on both sides. The big difference is there are 2 Marines here. Yeah, this probably will end up dying, but no, maybe it'll actually get out. You might be able to save that SCV, so that's a good move by Ample. So he's trying to catch it. Ah! And it makes it out. You're not going to be able to catch that at this point. So anyways, the 2 Marines are really the only difference. The 2 Marines put more pressure on the BarrackS as it flies over and can help in a Vulture fight a bit more. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you're going to see. These 2 Marines from Ample are actually walking up across the map with a Vulture rallying, and in fact, he's rallying a 2nd. So it looks very likely that he'll do like a 2 Marine, 2 Vulture, or 2 Marine, 3 Vulture attack, trying to catch BarrackS being maybe slightly out of position. Or possibly having gone an add-on too quickly. Okay, so he comes up, and okay, so he's going to lose this. Honestly, what you're supposed to do here when that happens, in my opinion, you go after the 2nd Marine, because he could have gotten the 2 shots off on the 2nd Marine. Instead, he damages a Vulture, which I don't think is quite as good. But in this case, the Vulture runs up into his Marine and Vulture and ends up dying. So the defense turns out to be good here for BarrackS, and Ample has to turn around, you know, looking for that aggression, but unable to find it. The add-on is on the way, 2nd factory as well. Down here, no add-on as of yet. Playing it a little bit safer in a way and going into an armory. So the no add-on armory build, you do not have to get aggressive with it, but you generally do. Because the add-on takes as much time to build as a Goliath and even more time to build than a Vulture, you just get more units by not making add-ons. And even though they maybe not quite as high quality, you can definitely get some damage done. Now, he lands the BarrackS here to screw up units going back and forth. His 2 vultures come down. He sees exactly what's here. Another vulture is going to pop out, and here he goes. He dives on with 3 vultures. So that is a bit of an issue. You can see the bad AI coming out here, but it looks like his repair was enough. So good defense so far here from Ample. And he will end up losing that vulture, but you know what? He's equaled out vultures, so he's got to be happy with this scenario so far. And he knows that, for instance, there is no add-on, so he needs to actually make a tank very quickly, or, well, you can try to overwhelm with pure vulture, but it's not too likely because the Goliaths are going to come and do a great job. Now, BarrackS gets on top of Ample's vultures once again, and he certainly wasn't ready for that. Oh, he actually traps one, which is kind of nice. Unfortunately, there was enough damage output. He loses that vulture as well. Another vulture goes down. This vulture's so badly hurt. He's got to target that. Oh, dude, you've got to target that. It's so red. It's 1 shot from death this entire time. So that's some big damage. Right now, Ample has lost like 7 SCVs. You can see 7 SCVs down. We have the first few Goliaths popping out. And, okay, speed is done, and he's got a good amount of vultures, right? He's about to have 7. So that's pretty important. But BarrackS is going for defense here. So he builds the 2 depots so that you can't get in with the vultures. So you block with the 3 Goliaths like this. So he's invincible against the vultures right now. But the vultures are going to gain map control. So what you generally see in a spot like this is 2 or 3 out on siege tank. You lay a bunch of mines. You keep your opponent back in his base. On BarrackS' side, he's got to get the academy quickly. Oh, he's actually going 4 factory. There's the academy. I was like, where is that academy? You really need it because mines are going to be the issue. So he is getting the academy. He's actually getting a starport and 4 factory. So he's going to try to really mass up and push out. This is like a pretty common scenario that we see in Terran vs. Terran with these openers. A single Wraith being made, and there is no armory here for Ample. So the single Wraith can do a lot. There is the armory being made, but the Wraith can harass some. It can push back siege tanks. It can put damage on things, scout what's going on. There's a lot of redeeming things about having a Wraith here, and even a dropship could be useful. You definitely have some potential for getting across the map and doing a decent drop, especially if you're brave enough to do something like bring your 4 Goliaths. Because 4 Goliaths will not be cleaned up by vultures, that's for sure. So tanks being made by Ample. Looks like both sides going to have their comsats. And definitely you got to use your comsats pretty quickly here as BarrackS to clear out these mines. You do not want your opponent walking across the map with his siege tanks and getting a massive contain off on you. All right, so speed and mines on the way. So he's transitioning into 4 factory vulture, and this has actually been a more popular type of way to play recently, where some people that don't want to do a vulture speed opener will instead open with Goliath into a couple tanks and then just mass up vultures, knowing that their opponent has to go tank, and then they gain map control. Now, the funny thing is that gives the tank advantage to the vulture player, but you can kind of make up for that by having really well-placed mines, really good map control, getting your tanks into a good position. So definitely this game is getting really interesting. There's a lot of back and forth on these strats. Now, the mass vulture here from BarrackS goes over one of the minefields. You notice immediately the tanks and Goliaths walking back a little bit. He's retreating his own vultures since he has a smaller count. I don't know what's going on with this Goliath. He's definitely walking pretty far out there. Tanks continue to move back and forth for Ample. He wants to make sure he gets a reasonable position. If you defend inside of here, it's a little bit weak to big army movement from your opponent. It's a very cramped area. Now, the vultures come in and actually kind of fight for BarrackS. I'm surprised at what I'm seeing, honestly, but he's cutting through his opponent's vultures very quickly. He's going to get into the main base, and this is going to be annoying. He's going to see exactly what's in here. 3 factories, 2 more on the way. Goes after some of the SCVs as well. Already, Ample had taken damage economically from those early vultures, and you can see this occurring once again. He loses quite a few. He's down about 10, 11 workers right now. So pretty good usage of those vultures. Now, a dropship is coming out. Double Wraith going to go around the map a little bit, maybe scout what's going on, maybe poke somewhere, and then drop with these vultures in the dropship. That would, you know, if he gets just a few more SCVs, it continually becomes more and more painful for Ample. Now, the third base being taken on location. A better third base for BarrackS than what Ample has taken. This is easier to take, but not full mineral patches, not a full gas either. So it's kind of like a temporary base. And here comes this Vulture drop. Definitely has a lot of potential. Here comes the Wraiths as well. Okay, Vulture's coming in with a Siege Tank to defend against this. Yeah, looks like he's going to have more than enough to defend. The Wraiths fly in towards the third base. Here's that drop. Absolutely stopped. Dead in its tracks. Not a bad idea from BarrackS, and it doesn't matter too much that it was stopped too. It's not that big of an investment. You're not going to lose the game because one Vulture drop didn't go well. The Wraith being very annoying in the meantime. A bigger movement out here. This is kind of what I was talking about, but not the greatest movement from BarrackS. He does pick off a couple Siege Tanks. Getting a vision here with the Wraith. Ooh, he does pick off that Siege Tank. You know, harder to defend from the inside than to attack from the outside on this map. Meantime, another Vulture drop comes out. Just trying to target things down. Another well-defending Siege Tank going to push that out. Oh, look at this. He actually drops in the main base on top of the Siege Tank and lays mines. Ends up getting it and maybe a couple SCVs. Only one Vulture remains. Again, none of this is the end of the world for Ample, but he is getting beaten up all around the map at least a little bit. So definitely some issues going on. Continuing to macro out, getting his third add-on, more factories as well, going up to 7 factory. Very, very nice. His +1 about halfway done. We already have the +1 on the other side, but the science facility is slightly late. So his +2 not going to be super fast compared to BarrackS like maybe it could have been otherwise. BarrackS continues to kind of control the outside of the map here. All right, blows up a few tanks here. Gonna force back those Vultures immediately. This really feels like it's going into BarrackS' favor. You can see that reflected in the supply, up about 30. The SCV's catching back up for Ample, but he's had to put a ton of money into making those as he's lost a lot throughout the game. Now, rotating a couple tanks down to this area, but the containment is serious. This area is incredibly important, and if the tanks are out of position, like you could move up there, for instance, and siege the command center. So you see how hard the defense is on the inside, like I was talking about, right? It's really tough to have your units in that right position, and now BarrackS going to move his entire army once again. That giant army movement coming out and splattering some of these tanks. His Vulture's getting on top of the other tanks over here. Ample's trying to take a 4th base during all of this, but it seems like he's not even going to hold his position. More tanks rallying up. But yeah, I think this base is going to be completely denied. And the tank count is just, it feels like it's too high on this side. Just really, really well done. And, well, I mean, as BarrackS, like, tightens the noose, I guess, that he has around Ample's neck here, it's not a lot of comeback potential, unfortunately. You can see his factory count is lower. We don't really have, like, drop ships out, as far as I can tell. The siege tank's continuing to push forward. And this really looks like a BarrackS victory at this point. I don't think anyone in the world could come back from this spot. His tank's just rallying in. Doesn't even honestly need to siege him. Could have just moved him forward to attack as well. And GG is called. BarrackS keeps the hope alive. And we find ourselves in the final game of the King of the Hill. And what is ZeLoT known for? Being the most aggressive pro gamer. And what is he doing? A 4-pool. ZeLoT, with the possibility of winning this for his team right now, is going for a 4-pool. The map is butter, a 2-player map. BarrackS here. Let's see what he goes for. Oh my god, is he going to go for a 4-8 BarrackS? Dude, this can really go either way. This is something you don't see very often. So this is a rush build from BarrackS. It's not a super, super committed one. It's like the type where you can actually macro behind it. But an 8 BarrackS being out in the front, I mean, 6 Lings are going to come, and you have to fight with SCVs. And your BarrackS is so far away. He basically is going to have to get a Marine out and get it back into a bunker. I don't know what's going to happen here. I have no idea what's going to happen here. 6 lings on the way. So he's trying to make a depot wall. Oh my god, this is so crazy. It's so crazy that this is happening right now. Now, okay, the barracks is about to finish. The lings are going to be popping out. He's going to have 8 zerglings here. I'd imagine he's going to make a couple more as well. I'd be surprised if he went into drones from here. Oh, man. The SCV going to see this coming. As soon as you see this with your SCV, you know that it's a 4-pool. Okay, the alarms are going off. Now, he already has a Marine out. Where do we see the bunker get started? There it is. So he's going to try his hardest here to get a Marine back. He is going to be able to get this one Marine into a bunker. The second Marine probably won't make it. So he sends it to the side. He makes another Marine. Now, one Marine in a bunker, you can actually pick off some SCVs with these lings. Okay, he gets that one. Obviously, he can run out here. He can kill the depot. He can make the barracks lift. He can chase around the few Marines that are being made. Look at this. Puts one on each. Yes, Zerglings beat Marines in StarCraft 1 in the early game. Now, this is obviously not many drones back at home, and he's still making lings. But the important thing to mention, this is only one Marine. Okay, like, seriously, think about that. The damage output is not that high from one Marine. So these lings have some real potential for damage here. Now, are you trying to kill the SCV making the barracks? Are you going after the SCVs in the bottom? Are you going after a depot, right? Maybe force a cancel on the barracks? Yeah, I can't fault him for that. Absolutely. By the way, he is making drones back at home and gets on top of the bunker. He's targeting down SCVs. He's basically forced the SCVs to come out. That was a great load and unload. My god. But he is targeting SCVs as best he can here. He's actually killing quite a few. It looks like he will spend basically all of his Zerglings, but you can see how long it took one Marine to kill those. We're at 5 SCVs against 6 drones. So obviously still favored for barracks, but more coming in. We still only have the single Marine. Oh my god. Okay, comes up, and he's going to try hitting the SCVs from the other angle. He's putting some serious damage on them. Oh my god, the SCVs feel like they have to fight here. They drill out. How many SCVs can he actually end up killing? Oh, that one is so low. I would have loved to see him get that one. We're down to 9 versus 7. It's becoming a lot more even, like very quickly here. Zealot, can he make something happen with this 4-pool? Now, here is the main problem with Zerg doing Zergling rushes, okay? And this is something that at the high levels you definitely can see punished a bit. But the fact that he's going 2 barracks is like exactly correct. So look at the production we have for Terran. We have SCVs, workers constantly being made, constantly being refilled, and then constant units. You can't do that as Zerg. You cannot do that as Zerg, right? You can make either drones or Zerglings when you get larvae. So if you just continually make Marines here and send them down, even if Zealot makes enough lings to kill these, you're ahead. Because that means he's not making drones. So it's very similar to killing drones. Like, even if these equalize, these 6 Marines equalize with Zerglings, right? Let's say it's 6 Marines, so let's say you have 10 lings, and they all kill each other. It's like, well, that's like 5 less drones that you have now, which is great for this, great for these Marines. So yeah, this is a very tough situation. Now that is a very fast layer, considering it was a 4-pool opener. If he can get somewhere with this layer, okay, we have a real game. Like, we have some mutas out, amazing. But here come those Marines. He's trying to make a creep colony. Honestly, there's nothing left here. There's nothing being made. Like, do you make 2 Sunkens? You can't really get them up in time. There are some lings being produced. More Marines going across the map. Like, we don't even have a gas as of yet. Yeah, that hatchery's gonna fall. Making a few lings here and there. I mean, some pop out. He kills one instantly. More Marines walk down the map. And I mean, this is the trouble with the 4-pool, right? Like, maybe if it's just like a regular walled expansion as opposed to an 8-racks, you don't get that Marine into your main base, and Zealot can win this game. But this certainly looks to me like it is about to end in the favor of BarrackS and Team Scan. Here we go. Brings out all of his drones and lings to fight. And it's not going to be enough. BarrackS going to take down ZeLoT, win round 2 for his team, and that means we get a Super Ace match.